Well, let's get straight into this with my panel, Sky News hosts Chris Kenny and Liz Storer. Great to have you both here tonight.
Thanks, Sharri.
Look, I'm going to start with you, Chris. High-profile Yes campaigner here in Ken Wyatt. He's out there attacking the Liberals, but doesn't mention his own role.
Yeah, no, I disagree with your interpretation of this, because it's not about his personal view. It's about the judgment of where the population will be and whether they get to have a say. And what he's saying is arch-conservative Liberals or coalition MPs who didn't want a vote on gay marriage and thought they could defeat such a vote by campaigning no, misjudged the public mood. And as we know, it voted about 2/3 of Australians supported gay marriage. So he's saying it's a similar issue here. Now, the polls at the moment show it's neck and neck, but going back a couple of months ago, you had about 2/3 of Australians in favour of the voice. We'll see how it plays out over the next few months when we have a proper campaign. But what he's saying is there's a risk, and I think he's right. There's a real risk for the coalition here in campaigning no, because if they fail or they just succeed through some sort of, two or three states not backing it, that could be in a bit of a mess. So really, for them to say that they're in sync with where the population's going, the no case has to win overwhelmingly, and there's no real indication that that's likely to happen.
Liz, look, I think that the polls are showing that support for the voice is falling. But just on Ken Wyatt, I don't know, I think that was a bit of a positive spin on his comments, because I read out his quote and he's very clearly saying my colleagues are out of touch and they didn't, Peter Dutton, they didn't support same-sex marriage. And he forgets to mention that, well, actually, he didn't support it either, even though his electorate did.
He had a very big part to play. As you've just said, Dutton had a very big part to play. So now to lambast him with this, completely unfair. And also to say that the Liberals are out of touch by campaigning no, again, all you have to do is look at the polls. It is absolutely nosediving. A new poll out today by ACM just showed 38% in regional areas. And that poll was over 10,000 people. So news poll last week down to 43%. Earlier in June it was 46%. So we do see this it looks like it's just going to pick up on its way down as we get nearer and nearer the vote. So for him to say you guys are out of touch with mainstream media, props to Dutton for calling it early. He's more in touch with the mainstream Australians, I would say.
Because you have to have the vote to find out. The vote will tell us everything, won't it? Not the polling. I mean, at the moment, the Yes case is polling a lot more than the Coalition is, or the Labor Party, right?
But let me ask you a question, though. You've got to be worried when we hear today that an electorate like Kooyong, such a far-left electorate that they booted out Josh Frydenberg, one of the best politicians in support of... some...
Well, hopefully they'll boot out to Monique Ryan, because apparently she's still locked up with a face mask on and is worried about the pandemic.
But the issue is that her electorate of Kooyong, there's reports today that it's turning against the voice.
There's lots of polls around. There's lots of fairly ordinary polls. We'll see. There'll be proper debate. I think the Albanese Labor government have completely mangled the advocacy of this process and the way that they've put it forward. But the idea is a good one. The outcome is a worthwhile one for the country. So we'll see whether the Yes campaign can put a decent campaign together and knock back some of the scare campaign and misinformation that's directed at the voice, because it's non-stop.
You can't sit here at my desk and follow misinformation.
Because it's at this desk. It's at Sky News where a lot of the scare campaigns are being run. A lot of them are nonsense.
No one from the Yes side has been able to prove any of the concerns nonsense, because there's still not a single comprehensive...
I can deal with them all right here and right now, right? All the scares about the voice talking about interest rates or foreign policy or defence policy or police...
Penny Wong herself said she wants it to be at the heart of foreign policy.
I can deal with it all right now by saying it's only advisory. Nobody ever has to do anything the voice suggests.
And then if you don't take their advice, you get to go to the High Court.